Hey folks, signal and noise ending October 24. Okay, man, it's hot in Brisbane. Righto, the US economy, the thing that's concerning me at the moment, and is becoming more of a concern is the state of the US economy. You might have heard us talk on the podcast about the state of the housing market. It's starting to decline, not everywhere, but in a lot of places. And also, I'm concerned about the level of fraud and also just the way they're trying to keep people in homes, and the people are not paying the rent or the mortgage payments. Anyway, more about that on the podcast. So that's one part of the problem. The other part is that, as you can see on the right hand side here, Trump is trying to bring down government spending. What they don't realize is when you reduce a government deficit, that means there's less money going into the economy, which means there's less economic growth. On top of that, Trump is also bringing in about 300 billion a year on the tariffs. So that again is also pulling money out of the economy. So that's not good. What you have to counter that with is get people borrowing more money to make up for the decline in the deficit. So if I spend $100 less, someone has got to spend $100 more to make up for my decline. What you see on the left-hand side there is the banks have been lending like crazy. And more importantly, the banks are lending to private credit. That is where it's a really serious concern, because what they're doing is backing up private credit who's going in and paying exorbitant prices for a lot of assets, including property. So again, if the debt is really high, there's less room for people to borrow, which again means with government spending falling and the level of borrowing falling, you're going to lead probably into a recession. So that's something to watch. The big point is the recession leads to a fall in the stock market because companies now are not going to earn a dollar, they're going to earn 90 cents or 80 cents. And then you see a fairly quick rush out of the market. Okay. Argentina and America. There's a lot of sort of talk among the economists about this. America supporting Argentina. The reason why you want to watch that closely is because it's not about economics. It's about what is called the Monroe Doctrine. I won't bore you with it here, but essentially what America is doing is saying we're going to lock in Canada and Mexico, and then we're going into South America, and we're going to lock that in. So America controls this very long strip north to south, and that's an old strategy that was used called the Monroe Doctrine. That you're going to hear a lot more about that in the future, as it becomes obvious that America is the same thing why they're going on with Venezuela and other places. America is withdrawing from the world, but what it's doing is it's securing its own backyard so nobody can come in and attack it via Mexico or via Canada. Okay, the Ukraine-Russia conflict is heating up. It looks a little bit like Donald Trump is starting to get extremely irritated with Putin. The Americans have now said that have given the green light to Ukraine to use long-range missiles supplied by the British, which strike in deep into Russia. That's where the Russians are really concerned. The Ukrainians have also been targeting Russian infrastructure. That's hurting their oil supplies. Trump has now put more sanctions on Russia, again, also pressuring China and India not to buy Russian oil. So again, all of these things are targeted to try and get Putin to get to the table and make an agreement, which he probably won't, but we'll see how it goes. Rare earths continue to make a lot of business headlines. The Europeans have now said, listen, we're going to think about some controls or some sanctions on China because, again, China is essentially trying to control the global economy through its control of rare earths. And I can tell you that's not going to win a lot of friends, particularly among the developed countries. Okay, the Australian economy. I've put an article there about AI. We'll talk more about this in the podcast, but just letting people know they need to be careful about that. AI is obviously in a bubble, and it's just time that the bubble will burst at some stage. As I've said before, the narrative is changing more and more to highlighting the foibles of AI rather than the successes. This is fairly standard capital cycle stuff. Okay, Australia, Albanese and Trump inked a deal on rare earths. Again, we'll keep updating subscribers with that over the longer term. Needless to say, Australia is now totally committed to the US. We can expect some blowback from China in ways I'm not sure, but there'll be China will no doubt be very upset about this, and they'll have some retaliation in mind. It might be probably with iron ore, BHP Rio, but again, we'll just have to see how that plays out. Okay, the world has gone mad, according to Marcus Padley. He's probably not wrong, but I don't think you need to be 100% cash, but you do need to hold a fair bit. But anyway, I attached that article there for you to read. The world has gone so mad that even the Koreans are actually getting into investment accounts and margin loans and all sorts of stuff. Leveraged ETFs, it's all there, folks. Keep an eye on that. Okay, speaking of going mad, Australian properties continuing to go mad. Now 1 in 3 properties is worth more than $1 million. Just shrug my shoulders, that's all I can do. Lesson of the week, we'll be talking on the pod more deeply about ignoring this line here and looking at the line here to tell you how you should asset allocate over the market cycle. Righto, that's it, folks. We'll be talking more about rare earths in the future. Stay posted. Righto. Cheers, folks. See you next week.